Everyone, Justin McCown here from River Park Light Show, doing a behind the scenes for our Pixel display, mainly because Ed Smith challenged us to do so. So let's get started, shall we? So what we got here is my garage, and inside my garage I have an F48 with a 5-port gigabit Ethernet switch. I took the case off of it so that it would fit inside of this Bell South NID, they call it, a network interface device. And it's just to keep the dust off. I'm inside the garage, so I really am not worried about weatherproofing it. Here's my F48. What I have here is I have Ethernet cords. These are really slim line. They're actually Cat 6 and they're tiny. I have them coming out over to a patch panel, and the patch panel is just so that I can plug something in from the F48 and go out to any of my ports on the sides of the house. So I have 6 ports that go out on one side of the house. I have 6 ports that go out on the other side of the house. That means there's 12 less Cat 5 Ethernet cords that are laying around my house, which is really nice. That's something I did in October because October was really my first show and I hated the wires on the ground. It drove me nuts. So I went in the attic and ran my own. So that's done. Now it's a little bit of a mess. You know, these guys are kind of flopping out here, but you know what? When your show is running, you just throw cleanliness and neatness to the wind and just start slapping stuff together and hope it works. So the other things I have inside of here is my Raspberry Pi that's running FPP. That's a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, and it's a solid performer. I got no problems with it. Coming out of it, I've got the Sound Blaster, I think it's called the Live Play 3, and that runs the audio out to my FM transmitter. I got a 3.5 millimeter audio cable. It's just a cheapie. It goes into my $5 FM transmitter that I got off of eBay. I think they're actually now $7 now, but whatever. And then on it itself, if you look real closely here, I got 2 wires from a Cat 5 that are soldered onto it. So I soldered one onto the, let me see if I can pull this out so you guys can see better. This may be more difficult. This is the back side of it and it's upside down. But if you look, I got the ground and then I got the antenna soldered onto it. And what that does is that goes out to a dipole antenna that I created. Goes up and over the door jamb and down and to this guy here. And so that is specifically created with a length to run at 90.5 FM. Inside of it is just a piece of Romex 12 gauge copper wire. I'm not kidding around. It cost me nothing to build that. That was out of materials that I had just laying around in the garage, and it's made tremendous differences. So I'm sure the FCC will come and shut me down any day now. Just kidding. It's not that far. It's only about 300 feet. Radius from my house that you can hear it. And alright, so let's go outside. I'll show you where these ports end up and how all that works. But the main reason I wanted the ports, to reiterate, is that I didn't want the wires outside just laying on the ground, because I only have 400 other wires outside laying on the ground, for real. But this gives me the ability to, you know, not have to unplug. These people would call these Ethernet connectors, but they're actually called 8P8C connectors. And I had a high open issue with one of these ports from plugging in and unplugging multiple times. So I don't want that anymore. So instead, going further going forward, I will plug them into this patch panel, and this patch panel I can move, you know, to whatever port I need. So it's numbered here 1 through 12, And you'll see when we go out into the yard, I've got my ports numbered 1 through 12. So there will never, ever be a time where I screw up and plug the wrong Ethernet cord into the wrong differential receiver, because I have done that, and I'm sure all of you have too, right? I'm not the only one, right? All right, so outside, we're gonna try and keep this without getting scatterbrained here, but these are 3/4 inch PVC that I ran up into the soffits of the house. And down here, this is a weatherproof cover. My buddy Jerry Coates, he's an electrician, he says these actually go bad over time. It's better to have a metal cover, but you know what? I like them. They give me plenty of room, so I could literally close this if I wanted to, so that nothing could get in there. But we're pretty sheltered. I mean, that's 53.5 inches to weather, and then I've got gutters as well, so these don't really get wet. These are more of just keeping all the spray down. So inside here, I've got them numbered. I used the label maker to make those. They were clear, but it looks like after just 2 months, they're already yellowing out. I really don't care as long as it says 7 through 12, right? So those go back to the patch panel, obviously. I ran power out here as well, and those go back to a 120 amp circuit breaker. People had said that I would need more than 20 amps. You know, people are going crazy putting sub panels with like 200 amps. Hey man, whatever floats your boat. My show's not there yet. I don't need anything tremendous like that. I just need 20 amps service to run my show, and we've got well over 11,000 pixels plus a P5 matrix, and it's running the show fine, and I've not tripped anything yet. And we've got 14 power supplies. Half of them, more than half, are the Hewlett Packard 750 watt. So they're only going to pull the power that they require. And so far, it has not exceeded the 20 amp circuit that we put in. So coming out of this, sorry, I can get long-winded on stuff, is I go to some of these guys. I like them. They stay up off the ground. Doesn't pop circuits, because I did put in the GFIs. I don't know if you can see that, but they are GFI'd. That way, as long, I do love my show, but I don't want my show to be shocking. Pun intended, people. So it goes out to these guys, and from here I have it distributed out to the rest of the props. So this is one of my differential receivers. This is one of the original ones I built, and I know that because I don't have power injection coming out of that. It's just 4 X-Connect pigtails coming out of the back of it with that's a PG7. You know what? That's a PG7 cable gland for the power. I cut it, spliced it, put it back together. I'm cheap. That's just how I do things around here. And then, of course, the Ethernet. This is one of the originals. I didn't actually put in RJ45 or 8P8C connector on there. So that just comes out. It's got a long length of Ethernet cord that's just balled up here on the ground and plugs into one of those ports. So that kind of is how I handle my data and how I handle my power to the house. Some of the props I have are these wonderful Dacor Boscoyo spinners, or I call them spinners, but I think some other people call them some other stuff, wheels or pinwheels. But they're 85 pixels, and if you look here, I drilled a hole through and put a washer and a bolt, and all that does is it goes to the back side of this. I don't know if we can see that because it's not zooming in. But I just put a spacer there to give me a little bit of distance away from the pigtail, because these are 12 millimeter, I'm sorry, not pigtail, away from the pixel They're 12 millimeter pixels, and these have long wires on them. They're 4-inch apart. They're really long for 4-inch. But anyhow, they might even be 5-inch, which is kind of crazy. But off of it, I have a brick. It's just a piece of metal. It's a brick strap that you can get at Home Depot. You can get 100 of them for like $5 and bend them to whatever size you want. They have holes in them. And then I got it wrapped around a big zip tie. And that's what holds it onto my PVC fence. And then the same deal over here. And then my windows, I'm cheap, guys. I'm real cheap. So if you look down here, this is Chromatrim V3. It's ABS. This one's in really good shape because it's out of the sun, but if it's in the sun, it's going to yellow, and it's also going to get brittle. I do not recommend the Chromatrim ABS version 3. Matter of fact, if it's up to me for 2020, this is all coming down. I'm going to redo it with some other material. I don't like it at all. And it's a real pain in the butt because it does not come pre-drilled with all of these holes where you see all my black zip ties. It only comes with maybe half of them, if not 1/3 of them. So you have to drill a bunch just to keep the material from getting real wavy. I don't like it. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to show you the windows is not to beat up Boscoyo. I love Boscoyo, but I don't care for that product. Is right here. Instead of buying the $3 to $5 90-degree EMT connectors, I just 3D printed them. And this file is available on the Thingiverse. There's many of them. And this one, it's 2 colors. And that's just because I ran out of PETG material. And so I just started it up on a different material. Again, me being cheap. So that's how I do my windows. And then over here, up above my garage door, I have the little tiny stars. I think they're 12-inch stars, but they are 20 pixels each, if I recall correctly. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Now they're more than 20. I don't know what they are, I forget now. But anyway, that's not important. What's important is how I built that. And how I built it is on the back here. I don't know if you can see that or not. But what I did is I zip tied it to a piece of EMT, and then the EMT itself is a piece of 1/2-inch PVC with a bolt going to an EMT connector. So I can just pop this right off when I'm done. Look, this is done. Just pop it right off the house, and I would leave that there all year round. But that's it. That's how I do everything that's connected to my house. Is all of that is popped on there, and I'll show you more of that as we go on. But now most people would probably paint that EMT white or black, but I assure you nobody even notices it. And then up top on the roof line, we've got 16 snowflakes that go around the entire house. I live on a corner lot, so we've got 16 of those bad boys, and I'm using James Blue's stand, and basically it's PVC stand. Just look up snowflake stand roof James Blue, and you'll come across his print of the measurements to make that work. But essentially it's a sandbag or 2 sandbags that hold it down. Sandbags are really, really expensive, so I made my own. If you go on YouTube and search cheap $3 sandbags, you can make your own for relatively cheap. To buy sandbags is really, really expensive, especially if they're reusable. I mean, super duper expensive. It's actually ridiculous how expensive they are. So I built my own. They hold them there, and trust me, we've had some serious wind the last couple of weeks. I want to say in the neighborhood of 30-mile-an-hour winds, and these have not budged 1 inch. And they are simply zip tied to those frames. So it's a Boscoyo 48 pixel snow flake that is zip tied on there, and they're rock solid, no problems there. All right, so moving on. These are 168 node Boscoyo matrices, vertical matrices or column matrices, and they're awesome. I love them. They really make the corners of the house pop. I got them on all the corners of the house. I have 5 of them, 168 nodes, and the way that I connect them to my house is identical to everything else. So if you look here, come down here, again, it's simply a screw, a piece of 1/2-inch PVC, and that 1/2-inch PVC is only to give me a little more space because these are not square nodes, these are bullets. And so as you can tell, it gives me plenty of space back there. I'm not really squishing the wires or anything like that. And then they go out to these little 1/2-inch EMT connectors that I got off of eBay for real cheap. I think I got 100 of them for, you know what, I can't even remember. I've spent so much money now. But they're relatively cheap, and they're way cheaper than Holiday Coro's Lexan connectors. I hear those are really good, but they also break. And besides, I don't really care for Holiday Coro, so I'm not gonna buy from them. eBay, here I come. You guys can bleep that out if you want. I know some people like the company. Hey man, more power to you. Whatever gets your Christmas display up and running works for me. I don't really care. Okay. Here is an inflatable, and this inflatable is brand new, so actually no, I take that back, that's an old one, but that one still has its power connector to it because it's AC powered. But I'm going to show you a real neat trick of what I do with my inflatables, especially when the power supply dies on them. So let's go check that out, and we'll probably get back to that because I have some other stuff on the way I want to show you. All right, moving on. Over here, here's our outside audio that Gina did for us. These are a little $15 Amazon boom boxes, and this just gives the neighborhood walkers some music to go with the display. It's just to keep the water off of it. It tunes into our FM transmission and works okay. It's nothing spectacular though. So it is what it is. Next year maybe we'll have the funds to do something like some Bose outdoor, 2.1 surround sound or something cool like that. But over here, more of the same. Got more of these corner matrices, as you can see here. This here is a 336 or 339 node Boscoyo Decor wreath, and this thing is killer, dude. This thing I've got submodeled for just the bow and submodeled just for the wreath, and you can do all kinds of killer effects because with pixels, the more pixels you got, the higher density you have. The higher density you have, the more graphics you can display that look clearer and awesomer, because awesomer is a word. But again, the little 4 washers, they go behind the house and they hook up to PVC, the little connectors, and they plug right in again with the EMT. See how I have EMT there? And those EMT pipes are giving strength to the Boscoyo, and then it just clips right onto the wall, and I can pop them off anytime I want. And also I can pop them off and I pop right on my Halloween props, so there's no messing with anything. I just clip them on and they're good to go. So these I have power injected because it's 336 nodes, 30% brightness, 12 volt. So these come out after I think it's after 200 I ran it. So 100, it starts at 100, or it starts at 1, goes to 200, then it's back fed with power injection, and then after 201 I think I have it power injected to 336 or whatever it is. But these are trailer connectors. I don't remember who told me about these, but there's a lot of you out there that use them, and I'm with you 100%. I think they're killer. So I've got those running out to long extension cords These are just the pixel pigtails with the data cut off. Some people, they'll take the data wire and they'll connect it to the ground to double up. But I don't see the need for it when I'm only going like 20 feet. So she comes over here to my power injected 750 watt 64 amp Hewlett Packard power supply. And basically what we got underneath it here is a Hewlett Packard power supply with a J-Board's vertical breakout board, and then that way it fits in there. And then we've got a 90-degree angle power cord on there, because if you had a regular power cord it would not work. It's just too long. So go with the 90-degree angled power cord. Doesn't matter if you go left or right, whichever works for you. It'll work either way. So anyway, the important part of this bad boy is the J-Board's differential receiver. I love you, David Pitts. I think you're the man. I love your Falcon controllers, but you need power injection on your boards, dude. So here's some power injection that Jeremy McElroy did, and it comes out to a little pigtail that I have here, again with those trailer connectors or automotive connectors, and that goes out to all kinds of props that need power injection, or even to my inflatables. Because they're 12 volt and they're DC, the inflatables will just take the 12 volt and whatever amperage they need, and it automatically pulls what it desires. So that's how I have the majority of my my newer differential receivers. And I love that design. I think I'm going to continue with that design because that serves so many different purposes. That gives me just the ability to power so many more things, and because it's a 750 watt with 64 amps, it'll run, it's way overkill. I mean, there's nothing that I can plug into that's going to kill it, unless you're talking about over 5 amps. Then the fuse will die and then the trace board will blow up. But hey man, who doesn't love a little fireworks in their display? So here's our 99 node candy canes. And again, I'm frugal, dude. It's just a piece of EMT that's held on with spacers. So literally, I come out here and see the bottom one. That one's for my Halloween. I've got a Chatty Ghost, a Boscoyo Chatty Ghost there. But I just come up, hey man, it's time to swap this out. Boom, I'm done. I'm done, guys. I just popped that off. And of course I'm doing this one-handed. Don't fail me now. But she's popped back on. Look, it's like magics. No blue smoke, nothing coming out. It's just magic. So there's our candy canes. All right, moving on. What do we got? Here's something different that nobody else has but me. So here's the Boscoyo Chromatrim presents. These things are killer, dude. I love them. I really do. But you're gonna cut your arms up doing this. This is the large one. Look at this. See how long my arm is here? My elbow is here. My hand's here. So in order to put the pixels in this bad boy, you got to build the box, and you open the box right here at the edge, and you stuff your arm in there. Well, this little stuff is like, I don't know what that is. If it's 2 or 4 millimeter Coro, that stuff is sharp, dude. Look at this. I could shave with that bad boy. But you stuff your arm in there and try and push those pixels in, you're gonna get cut up, son. Let me tell you how bad you're gonna get cut up. You're gonna get cut up so bad, it'll look like Rambo came into your bedroom and just started sawing away on you. It's hardcore. So I don't like this stuff anymore. I mean, I got it now. It's awesome. It looks awesome at night. But I don't ever want to build those again, ever. This one, this is the little one. This one's not so bad. Because look, I can get my hand in there no problem. See, I can get in there. That one's not going to cut me up nearly as bad as that large one. That large one, man, is a piranha. It'll chew you up. Over here, we've got the standard Matt Johnson 2-inch HDPE arches. That is from McMaster-Carr. I love them. I think they look like lightsabers at night, and I think it's well worth the money. I bought 100 feet of this. I've got 8 of these in my display right now, and I've got 2 already pre-made inside. And I think it cost me $203 to have it shipped, or no, to buy it, and then it was supposed to be $18 shipping. So if you want to buy this material, make sure that you contact McMaster-Carr first and ask for a quote on their shipping, because they'll come back and they'll say, oh, it's something like $12, $18, whatever it was. And then when they bill you, it's going to be about $80. And then you can just send them an email and say, hey, you know, shipping turned out to be whatever, 60 or 80 bucks, and they will credit you the difference from what they quoted you. So no big deal there. I think it in total it was $220. So shipping was less than 20 bucks to my house, and I believe they're out of Ohio or somewhere up there, and I'm in South Florida, so there we go. All right, moving on to the item that I have that nobody else has. So I wanted to show you those presents because those are really killer. And these are, the presents are better than these, what I'm about to show you, because they can do so many other colors and you can submodel them, but these are really cool. This is my little penguin area. And so what I got here is a bunch of penguins. And what I have right here is these are little pool cube tables, and they've got a light inside of them that you can change. It's like a RGB. It's pretty dumb, but they're hard plastic. I can stand on it. Check it out. So I'm standing on it. I'm about 180 pounds. So, oops. Hopefully Mother Nature cleans that off. But yeah, they're translucent, just like the HDPE tubing. But I found these on Craigslist for 20 bucks for the set, and I took the lights out of them. And what I did is I took some Raywu floodlights, and I just siliconed them on the bottom, and then used some duct tape because there's a little like notch where the wire would go, and that just keeps it up and out of the way. But so far it's been working since November, I don't know, let's say December 1st, so no issues there, and that's how I do that. What else is neat and creative here? So this is a Billy Dezama. I'll have to ask Billy how he pronounces his last name. Sorry, Billy. But he created these signs. They are acrylic. They're polycarbonate. So it's Lexan with a vinyl over it. He's got a vinyl plotter that he makes with it. And then inside of it is a 2811 WS2811 pixel strip. And then that way I can also control that in X-Lights, so it'll be colorful with our sequencing. So I've got 3 of those because people don't know how to read one sign. So what you do is you just keep adding until people get the idea. Alright, I think that sums up this area. So let's move over here, and you can see I got all my snowflakes up there, and they're not even moving, and today's a very windy day. But over here we've got, this is a 3200 pixel with minus the top. The top is a 270 pixel 6-ring star from Boscoyo. But those are Boscoyo strips, and these are the HD version. I like them a lot. I think next year I want to change up how I do this base. This is an 8.5 foot trampoline base, and what I've got is I've got really soft soil here, and I've got moles, so it's really soft. So I've got long 18-inch anchors that I drill down in the ground, and then I put a washer over the top, and that holds it down. It holds it down really well right here, but it's not holding it down over here very well at all. So I got bungee cords strapped down to it multiple times. I've probably got 12 anchors holding this sucker down. It's been a hell of a Christmas season with the But I got 6 anchors or down guys or guy wires, whatever you want to call them, holding down the portable hole. And the portable hole is about 120 pounds of concrete. And then I've got my ACR 72 ammo box that controls the Mega Tree. Now let me show you how I've got that set up, because I've got that set up again for power injection. So I can power inject out to anything I want. I'm not doing anything with them for this season, but if I need to, like for instance, see that Santa Claus there? Let's say that he's brand new this season, and he's got, see the little wall wart that's connected right there on the PVC? If I want to power inject him, I can. So that's very nice to have. So let me show you how this works. Now, I was going to come up and just jack this whole container. This is a lot of money sitting here, but so I came out here and I ran a lock and a cable around it. Now that's not going to prevent somebody from stealing it, but it'll keep the honest people honest, and that's really all I'm worried about. So shout out to Boscoyo Wired Watts and CFO Lights, because they are awesome people, and I own products from all of those companies. So here's what we have here. We have a Jadiation with 2 HP power supplies behind the boards. And then I've got a Falcon differential receiver. I've got the Falcon expansion board that expands out to ports 17 through 32 for these differential receivers. And then one of them goes to the differential receiver to 4 ports right there. So they come out and they are powering and data out to different crops that are nearby this tree. And then I've got the 16 ports here that go out to my 32 strands on the Mega Tree. So my Mega Tree goes up 100 and down 100, and then it stops. That's port 1, and then up 100, down 100, and that's port 2. And they are not power injected, and it works just fine. So 200 pixels, 30% brightness, and I don't really see any color deterioration, but then again, it's very rare that my Mega Tree is 100% white at the same time. So what else do I have here? This is my own screw up. This is a J-Boards differential receiver that I accidentally plugged in backwards and blew the, I don't know if it was the capacitor, I'm not an electronics guy, or whatever it was, but I contacted Jeremy about it, and I'm like, dude, what can I use? Is there anything I can use it for? It's like, well, dude, just cut off this little guy right here. I want it. It's not a capacitor. I don't know what it is. Look, I'm a moron. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Whatever it is, it controls the power. He said, nibble that thing off, and you can use it as a power distribution board. So guess what? Boom, power distribution board it is. So that's what I'm using for my power that I was just talking about. It's right here. Boom. So I can plug those in and go to town with whatever devices that need power. So that is my Mega Tree build. I added a couple fans. One blows cold air in, and then heat rises and blows the air. Well, I guess there's no fan there because it wouldn't fit in there. But that's my own fault, my own stupidity for drilling the hole before putting all this in, only to find out that the standoff is in the way. So DIY is a great idea unless you're Justin. If you're Justin, you make major screw-ups, and that's one of them. But to be honest with you, this doesn't get really hot. It's pretty windy out here. We're in the South Florida sun, and I've not noticed any problems thus far. Alright, moving on. What else do I have to show you that's amazing and different? Probably nothing, because it's all probably been done before. Okay, we could talk about the Mega Tree pole This is a Walter Monkhouse. I don't know if you know who Walter Monkhouse is. He's only like the most famous Christmas lighting guy in the world, but he he designed this ASAP Stage 2, or it's called an ASAP Senior Stage 2 Mega Tree Pole, and it's awesome, dude. That guy is just the salt of the earth. I went to the Florida Expo and I met him, and he told me all kinds of cool stuff and just sat there and talked with me for like 10 minutes straight, man. I mean, he's just a good guy. The guy's so good, he puts his own private phone number on the internet, dude, for anybody just to call him up if they got questions. It's crazy. I know for a fact I would never do that, but you know what? I'm not as nice and kind as Walter Monkhouse, so I've got a lot of growing to do. So who knows, man? Maybe in 40 years, maybe I'll put my phone number on the internet. All right. So this is a Boscoyo backplate to a trailer winch, and this trailer winch, I got mine off of Amazon. I tried getting it from what Walter said to get it from, but it looks like they're all universal. They have the same exact bolt pattern, so I didn't have any problem. On Amazon, I got this for, I don't know, I want to say 24 or 34 bucks, but they offer a new one. It's completely black. So I think if I were to do this all over again, I would get the black winch. So that's a boat winch. It handles, I think, 1,200 pound or 1,300 pound. I don't know if it's pounds per foot or pounds per inch. I'm assuming per foot. But that sucker will hold this tree up like it's nothing. Now, if you tried to hold that tree up, which I have tried with these Pixels, it's a beast, man. It's a serious beast. This thing probably weighs, without the concrete base, probably in excess of 250 pounds. And that's before you start cranking on these strands. But up there, I got a wide of the Overkill Metal 64 Mega Tree topper. I believe it's 22 inches in diameter, and she's a beast. I love her. I think for next year I'm gonna put some rings around that. I've got a down guy kit that I can place around that 1-inch metal tubing to make that a little better than just tying off on the topper. But she's holding, dude, and she's barely even budging in this wind. This wind is hardcore right now. So right here, I did some horizontal stripping to kind of keep the spacing correct without it flopping all over. But I saw Chuck Ackerman posted last night that he found someone put it's called a Mega Tree strip stabilizer, and you can just print them out and run like a 3/32 vinyl cord through it, and it holds it pretty good, and it doesn't look so tacky. But at night you can't even tell, you can't see it. So that's how I do my Mega Tree, and those are bungee balls, and the bungee balls work pretty good. I think it would work better if I wasn't getting all the issues with the trampoline base pulling up out of the ground. It's just my soil's so soft. But I think next year I'm going to do what Sam Robb did, and what he did is he took the exact same wood as this. He ran, I think it's 2x6, and he ran it out just like Walter Monkhouse did that one time. So he's got 2 legs going that way, 2 legs going this way, and then 2 legs going this way, and 2 legs going that way. And they go out to what he's got. He's got J.R. Matos's 1-inch Mega Tree base, and that looks killer, man. I would love to have one of those. Maybe JR can sponsor this video and hook me up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But he's got the little 1-inch base cable strap down. So the little metal straps that go around it, and it goes right into the wood. and he's got no down guys at all, and he lives 8 minutes from me, and his wind is atrocious too, and it hasn't budged a bit. So that's the Mega Tree build. Don't think there's much more to talk about. I think I've rattled on long enough, but we could go talk about Baby Shark. So let's go talk about Baby Shark, shall we? So here's my Baby Shark. This is our Decor version of Baby Shark. It doesn't come that way from Boscoyo. It comes in black or white, but we won this at the Mega, not even the Mega. Back then it was the Mini. So the Florida Mini. And again, you know, I've got that attached to the house like everything else. But with this bad boy, it didn't have a mapping for the submodel, so I had to do it myself. So if you go on there and you download it, that is a mapping from yours truly, and it works pretty good. It's not perfect, but that's what 2020 is going to bring, is perfection, right? So I've been told. And I think that covers everything that's different with my display than most people's display. That's a Boscoyo Decor stocking matrix. To be honest with you, I don't even really use that matrix for anything. It might be a waste of pixels. So I don't know. If you guys are on the fence about getting the singing stocking, that matrix I don't even use. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the boat on something. It's kind of a waste of pixels, I think. But yeah, you see all the cords there. I got cords everywhere, man. Good friend of mine, Sam Robb, said, if your house looks like crap during the day, it's gonna look glorious at night. So my house looks like crap during the day. There's stuff all over the place. But at night it looks pretty glorious. I think he's right. Here is my P5 matrix, and I built this one myself. I am no carpenter, but I use the PVC that acts like wood. I want to say it is 4-inch. No, that's 6-inch. That is, they call it 1x6 at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, but it's really like 3/4 by 5 3/4 inch. And then on the back, that it, to keep all the moisture out of the back, that is a 1/4-inch PVC, again from a big box store. And then the front there, that polycarbonate or Lexan, is from Home Depot as well. If you buy it from Boscoyo, it's way cheaper, and for about the price that is at a box store, you can buy a much bigger sheet that is rolled up and delivered to your door from Boscoyo. But I was running out of time, and so that's how I did that. So I ran that off of EMT to number 0 EMT hangers that you can get at the box stores, and it goes down. And this is the only place that I ran these to. I was worried about the wind maybe potentially knocking it undone from here, so I went ahead and put some EMT hangers here to negate that. But she's solid as a rock. She's going nowhere. And that pretty much sums up. Oh, you know what? One more thing I wanted to show you guys. So back to power injection with the inflatables. There's some more of my snowflakes. And that run right there is 336 pixels. One off of one port. And I've got that up there on that differential receiver up there on the roof in the gutter. But that is power injected about halfway down. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about was power injecting inflatables. A lot of people are having problems with inflatables this year, and so am I. Imagine that. But so off of the back side of this inflatable, it's 12 volt. If you look at these wall warts, you can see right on them, it says right there, their output is 12 volts, 1.5 amp, okay? So you know, on this one particularly, you can run, you know, 3 of these off of one 5 amp circuit without getting in any trouble, because that'll be 4.5 amps, right? So that gives us a little bit of flexibility. So if it's a little higher, no big deal, you're not gonna pop a fuse. But cut that sucker off. and you run it over here, and boom. Now this is a quick fix because my power supply died this year, so again, out the window is neat. But these are 3M Scotch Lock UR2 beanies, we call them in the field. We just call them beanies. We don't get all technical with that, but they've got dielectric gel inside of them, and you do not need to remove the insulation or the jacket off of the copper wire. It just bites down into it, and we've used these in the field for the last 30 years in Telco, so these work wonders. I wasn't even aware that this was a popular item this year. This is just something that we've always used and never even thought about telling you guys about it. So hats off to whoever brought it up to the community, because they do work well. Now, after saying such nice things about them, why do I use these? Well, number one, it looks nicer than that, right? That's something that's just going to get snagged over time. Plus, to be honest with you, it does have dielectric gel inside of them, but over time that gel will turn green and the connector will turn green, and it may or may not cause high open or an open in the wire. But I love these guys. These put the cross in the T. They're heat shrink solder tubes, and I have gotten better with my soldering skills or my soldering skills over the year, because I've had no skill at doing it prior to this hobby. So but I still love these the best, and these just require heat. I've found that the 400 piece bundle on Amazon does not have as much solder inside of them as the ones on eBay. I don't know why, but if you're gonna buy them and you need them in a hurry, get them on Amazon. If you're gonna buy them and you don't need them in a hurry and you can wait a week or two for them, get them on eBay, because they're cheaper on eBay and they seem to have more solder inside of them. So weird. But anyway, I've got this running out to a 16-2. That's 16 gauge 2 conductor wire with a shielding that I don't use, obviously. But that goes back to, again, my differential receiver that has power injection. So that's a good use for it. I think that is enough rambling. I think that's probably 30 minutes of me non-stop talking. So love you guys. I love this hobby. And check it out. I love Volkswagens. Look at that beast over there. 360 horsepower, 400 torque right there. Very unassuming grocery getter. All right, back on topic. Love you guys. Merry Christmas. I hope 2020 is a great year for all of us, and hopefully we bring more joy and more just more joy and more happiness about this time of the year. There's a lot of people who lose their lives, especially around the holidays, and it really takes the joy out of the holidays to remember your loved ones that are lost. So maybe this will help reinstill that. So love you guys. This is how I did all my show. I look forward to seeing everybody else's show, so maybe I can learn some stuff off of them. And one last thing, these are turnbuckles, and this is how I do my down guys. And I'm using 1,800 pound mule tape from work, and that's how I use the down guys off of there. So pretty strong. It is not the wire that most people use, and to be honest with you, the wire is probably better because you don't see it at night, whereas a bright reflective rope you would see. So anyway, love you guys again. I'm just keep talking. I'll just keep talking. I need to go eat something. Love you guys. Enjoy. Hope somebody got something out of this other than finding out Justin's a lunatic. Love you. Bye.